Greetings, folks, once again, and welcome to KS Customs. As normal, I am your host, Richard of KS Collectibles. We are continuing the custom order that I have been working on for a friend of mine, one of my customers. We have the base pretty much painted. I did make a mistake that I tell you people about all the time about when you're painting certain things. Always make sure you move the joints. I have the joints here on this boot that have been frozen due to the paint and the sealer, so I will have to unfreeze that or find another one and repaint it. I don't know. I haven't decided which route I'm going to go. However, we're going to start the basic assembly of this figure so we can get into actually doing a couple of washes on it and starting to paint the details of the camouflage on the uniform. And then after that, we work on the head. So we start with the waist. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our bottom torso piece. We're going to take a little bit of glue, a little bit of super glue. Normally I use the gel, but I don't believe I have any more at this point. So I have this liquid, which works just as well. It's really kind of preference. Oh, I do have gel. It's right here. Apparently, I don't pay attention to what I'm doing, and I start dropping stuff. Anyway, so what I do is along the outline of the piece, I'll throw some glue. You don't want it on too thick because you don't want it to squeeze out and damage your paint. And typically I put some right here in this center hole. It'll help keep it secure. You can also just go where like there's pins that go into the figure, and you can just dab some glue on where those areas are. And then you just put it in and squeeze that in as tight as you can get it. Like I said, always make sure you move those joints. Make sure that waist still moves. And I like to use a towel to help squeeze it. That way you're not rubbing your oils from your hands onto the figure, onto the paint that you just did. Okay, then we're going to put the back piece on. Actually, it's supposed to go with the front. So we put the front piece on. And we have our arms already attached. And the same thing here, we run it the same way. Where these pins go in, you can put it on the end of the pins if that works best for you. or into the holes that they connect. And then I run some on the lines, the outer lines a bit, like along the neck here. But once again, you don't want it to be too thick because you don't want it squeezing out when you close the figure together. Another little pin here. And you have to line up the pegs. Squeeze that in as good as you can get it. And this is why we dry fit it, because I'm having some issues with this connecting here. We definitely want to get it off before the glue dries. And we'll have to figure out where our problem is, why it's not connecting. And that's the key reason that we use thin layers of paint, because sometimes paint buildup can cause issues with this connecting. Then we have to sand it down a little bit and find out where the issue is. And then when we put it back together, we will paint what is exposed, what we can see. So let's try this again. There it is. Seems there is buildup on the top of this waist. And this is how all we're doing. We're using a nail file or a little bit of sandpaper to where, because it's the layers of paint that cause it to stick. this again. And I really should have tried this before I put glue on it. And it's appearing like where the problem is there's buildup inside here where the hinge is for the abdomen crunch. So I really just got to get in there and get rid of some of that paint. And we should be good to go. Okay, on earlier I had some difficulty putting the torso together. I had to do some sanding. To get it together. There is a slight gap going around the torso, which we can actually close up with some putty and paint over it, which I will show as we continue. I put this leg together as well as did the touch-up paint on it. So what I'm going to do today is show as I put these pieces on, and we're going to construct that second leg. And I'm going to put my camera back on the tripod so it looks better than this wonky crap I'm doing right now. Okay, so moving forward, what we're going to do is we're going to take our hair dryer. And the first thing we're going to do is pull the pegs out of the knee joint. So we're going to heat this up, pop these pegs out, put them aside. And then we're going to start with the upper thigh. So, once again, the hairdryer makes a lot of noise. You're going to heat it up. I typically use the warm setting, not hot, so you don't melt the plastic. It takes like 15-20 seconds before it's pliable enough to be able to pull the pegs out. Just kind of watch your heat. I don't use hot water on painted parts for obvious reasons. It's acrylic paint, and water, well, will strip it. So once again, I'm going to heat it up, pull the pegs out, and then we're going to show you the next step. Okay, now that we've heated that up and pulled those pegs out, we are going to put this knee joint into the upper thigh right here. There is a hole that goes straight through. You want to make sure it's lined up properly, and what you're going to do is heat both sides of the peg or of the hole that the peg goes through, as well as the part in the middle, because you want it just to push right through. So once again, we're going to take our hair dryer, heat it up, push the peg through. It takes a little work sometimes. Sometimes I'll have to take some pliers and hold, like pinch these together, the two sides past the joint, just to make sure that that peg slides all the way in. Once again, you want to make it pliable enough. Usually I do it one side at a time, so I'll get it through one side, have the peg go through the one side as well as the knee, and start to come out on the other side of this peg, or the other side of the thigh, and then we reheat that side and continue to push through. So once again, we're going to heat it up, push it through. If we heat it enough, it will shoot right through, very simply, but actually it's lined up pretty perfectly, so it should be able to shoot through in one shot. So we'll see right now. Okay, now I've heated it up. I'm going to take this and put it in my little pliers here, push it in the hole, and hope it goes through, which it goes through one side. I use the flat end usually of the pliers, just just to try to push it in a little further. I don't recommend using the point like I am doing right now without wearing gloves, because I have stabbed myself many times doing that. So, and there it goes, all the way through both sides, and our knee joint now works. Okay, and now if you notice, there is a black spot because that peg was black, much like all the rest of this leg. So what we are going to do is, once we get it completely put together, we're going to do some touch-ups. There are points where touch-up paint is needed, and we're going to go through and do all of our touch-ups and do a seal before we do any washes or details as far as the camo print. So the next part we need to do is the lower calf. And always make sure you have it facing the right way. Same thing. We line it up. And usually if you lift it up and look through the hole, you can see light going all the way through. I don't have anything thin enough that will go through it right now. Actually, this paintbrush might. Let's see. So, yeah, you see the paintbrush comes all the way through, so we know the hole is lined up. And we'll heat it up again. Take our hair dryer, heat it up, and just like we did the last time, we're going to push our peg through. So after I heat it up, we'll show you that process. Okay, we've heated up that lower calf part where I think it's pliable enough to take the peg, push it through the hole. Sometimes it is a little difficult. Like I said, sometimes you have to reheat it and push it through, but this is going through quite nicely. Usually if you heat it up enough, it's really no problem, especially if your holes are already lined up. If you did not overpaint, like I have done multiple times. There it goes. Let's see, through both sides. Knee joint works. Knee joint works. So what we're going to do is, before we do anything else with this, because we don't want to stretch the hole out or anything, we're going to let this cool down so it tightens back up. But the next thing we will do is put the boot together. So I did have a problem, as I had warned you guys many times, multiple times, about watching your paint, making sure that the joints don't stick. I got pretty sloppy with the bottom part of this boot. So as you can see, it will not tilt. So what I'm going to do is heat this up. And it's just like you would do breaking away paint at your house. Like if you painted over a windowsill or something like that, heat will loosen up the paint. It's going to end up stripping the paint from the bottom part of the joint, but we don't mind that. We just want it so the joint actually works. So we're gonna once again take our hair dryer, run it over. It's probably going to be about 30 seconds, maybe a little longer than normal. You don't want to melt or damage, so keep an eye on your part. But we just want it to heat up enough so it breaks the paint away from the joint. Okay, there we go. It took probably about 35 seconds, but now the joint will bend the way we want it to. So we're going to let this cool. Same thing that we're doing with this. We're going to let it cool a little bit because we're going to put the bottom portion of the boot on. Now, I've only half painted this boot just to show you an example of how you can still paint parts while it's together. The amount that I took this apart is not always necessary. Matter of fact, in some instances, as in the earlier in this video, because I'd taken it apart and made sure all of the gaps and everything were painted. Actually putting it together was pretty difficult because that paint goes into areas that it just makes it bigger when you try to put it together. So as you can see on the other side, it is pink, and it looks, like a shoe. It doesn't look like a combat boot, but once properly painted and put together, it looks the way we want it to. And it has that toe bend. So, and what you do with these ones is you heat this up in here, the top of the shoe, and there's a longer hole towards the front. So this hook goes in, and it makes it so you can push this down. It's a bit of a pain. It takes a little work to get in there. That's why we want this cool, because we don't want this too pliable or it's moving too much on us. So we're going to put this boot together and then attach the boot to the calf, and then we'll have a complete leg, and then I will show you how we attach the complete leg to the hip. And then from that point, there's some touch-ups we need to do, and then we can start in on the camo pattern, as well as we're going to do a wash. I think we'll do the wash. Yeah, we're going to do the wash after the pattern, so it makes it look like there's some wear to the uniform. We can do the wash actually to the torso, because we're not painting any of the camo onto the torso. It's simply the pants that get that. So we will, I'll probably do part of that. I am waiting for what is called green stuff to come in, and I can show you how we can fix that gap. The gap isn't bad, honestly, on this figure. He still fits a little tightly. It's still pulling up some paint. So you do have to be careful. But we will, so I'm going to heat up this boot, put it together. I think this is cooled enough, and show you how we put that together. Okay, so we got that boot heated. What you want to do is make sure your laces are facing forward, just like a shoe would. You kind of put that into the gap, and it's going to be warm, so be careful. And then you push it down, and the back part should stretch out enough to get that in there. You want to make sure it's nice and snug. It's supposed to go this way, back and forth. So and there's our completed boot. Now once again, we're going to let that cool down for a couple seconds. Actually, it really doesn't matter, because it's the top. This is what we're heating up here. So you're going to take this, and like I said, about 20 seconds. You're going to heat this up, and you're going to push this peg into that hole right there. So we're going to do that next. Okay, so now that we've heated this up, we can take this, and you're going to push it right in that peg hole. There it is. There we have another completed leg. Now, to get this into here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to heat up this slot and then push it right into this ball joint right there. And then we'll have our body all together. And we're able to start in on the, like I said, the washes and the pattern for the camouflage. And then begin to work on the head once I find that. So I'm going to heat up the hip joint, and then we'll show how to put it on the ball joint. Okay, so now that we have this heated up, we're going to push it into the ball joint, and it pops right in. And there is our figure, our body put together. There obviously needs to be some touch-up paint done. There it is. Now on the touch-ups, it's just little areas. So what I like to do is I'll take just a little bit of paint, barely dab my brush in water so it's not too thick. And then you go over like the peg holes. Anywhere you may have scratched it up, laying it down, putting it together. Like I said, we're going to do a wash and do a pattern on here. So it doesn't have to be perfect. But I like it to be as complete as possible. So just those little areas will get in there. I do still need to paint that other boot. That will happen as I'm getting ready to do the camo. But all in all, that is what the complete body looks like. Once I do the touch-ups and everything, it does at least to me look like a military figure. I hope it looks that way to the customer. Once we get, and I can just put a head on as an example. I can use my own heart here that I have. So, once we get everything completed, which I have till towards the end of next month, next month starts tomorrow. Today is Halloween, by the way. Happy Halloween for those of you. I'm sorry for the delay on this video. I've had a lot of stuff going on lately, and though I'm trying to stay consistent with the posting, sometimes just life gets in the way, and it's difficult at times. But I appreciate anybody that continues to follow, like, subscribe. I have been doing the quite a bit with the Shadow Network and the Shadow Network podcast, as well as Forbidden Panel. and their panel cast. So once again, be sure to check those guys out. Give them a follow. So we have this. Like I said, we got this body just about done. I might. And the amazing thing about this is it's just I imagine it's for their kid. You know, be a cool thing to have an action figure of your dad. It's for the father's birthday, so I don't know if he knows it's coming, but it is a cool idea that I'm more than happy to help somebody out with. Actually, it's pretty fun to me. It's a pretty fun job. So next thing I need to do is start working on the head sculpt and any alterations that I need to make to that. Excuse me. So that pretty much does it for this episode. Once again, I appreciate anybody that's following. Hopefully, if you found any tips along the way that can help you on your journey, I'm more than happy to help out. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Once again, please like, subscribe, follow. Just trying to keep this channel going. This is basically, like I have said, a commercial for my toy store. It's KS Collectibles. That's KS Collectibles, also spelled with a K. So it's KSKOLLECTIBLES.com. You'll see a lot of toys that we have available, as well as there is an order form where you can order custom action figures. And we'll go through a process where we speak together, where you basically you could reach out to me. It starts with a deposit, of course, and then we can walk through it and figure out the best way to make your vision come to life. There's also a lot of stuff that we have in stock that are not on the website because it's an ongoing process. And like I said, sometimes health and other issues get in the way. So we're trying to update it as much as possible. But if there is anything that you're looking for, we tend to sell more towards the vintage, more towards the 90s, early 2000s era. So if there's anything that you're looking for, feel free to reach out. I'll see what I can do. And if I don't have it in stock, I may know somebody that does. And I might be able to get you in contact with somebody that can help you out. So once again, I appreciate all the people listening out there or watching. And, a lot of this is trying to get the hobby to grow. So hopefully I can inspire some people to do it. So appreciate you guys. Have a good one. Until next time.